Well, it is 3 o'clock and the sun is shining in Donegal, and I'm sure the sun is shining in Cork with Maura as well.
It is.
But I'm thrilled to bits. Today we're going to be talking about home staging and the merits of home staging and the signs of home staging. And Maura Mackey is an interior designer. She's based in Cork. She specializes in home staging. She's a dear friend of mine, and you are so welcome, Maura.
Thank you, Anne. Thanks very much for having me today. I'm delighted to be here.
Oh, look, it's my pleasure. So if anybody's there, pop in, let us know where you are. And I'm sure people will have questions, because I know some people are thinking of selling their house. So Maura, tell me the Maura Mackey backstory. How did you become an interior designer? And then how did you specialize in home staging?
I suppose I always had an interest in interior design. Even as a young kid, I used to be buying the magazines. I remember my mother once a month, these kind of ones you put into the folder. And once a month, she'd bring it home for me and I'd have it. And I'd always had that kind of passion. Then when I was 26, I think 25, 26, I done an interior design course in Cork for 2 years, 2 nights a week for 2 years. So I was working in a multinational company as well at the time. But I suppose what made me really decide to do it is I built my own house. So then it kind of made me realize, oh my God, the potential that was there. And I suppose I had the blank canvas and I said, come on, make that. So I done the course, and I suppose it really, inside me, I knew there was a burning passion, I suppose, for interiors and stuff like that. So I suppose we were a newly married couple, we had bills to pay. So I kept my job in the corporate world, and I kind of done jobs here and there for family and friends. And then about 5 years ago, and I suppose over the years, I've always done jobs for people. And then we put on extensions in our own house. And then about 5 years ago, I done a retail display and design course. And I kind of was like, oh my God, I just loved it. And I said, this is really, Maura, you need to get into it. And I was kind of going, right, the kids were at a great age, and I was like, I need to set up my own business. So then I said, you know what, now I'm going to do it. And I suppose I joined the Home Staging Association UK and Ireland, and they've been a great.
Not too many interior designers get involved in home staging, which kind of surprises me a bit, because it's a massive science and it really works.
Yeah, and it kind of goes hand in hand, I suppose. Interior designers stage showrooms and stuff like that, as we both do. And in the sense, in turn, I suppose home staging is staging your home for sale, in the sense of for showrooms and for selling your house. You know what I mean? So they both work in interior styling, I suppose.
There's a difference, though, isn't there? There is a big difference.
Oh, big difference.
Sorry, I have a hair that's driving me crazy. A million hairs that are driving me crazy. But anyway, I mean, back in the days of the show houses, I used to love designing show house, not just the RT one, but all of them, because you were given a brief, but it was fairly loose and fluid, but yes, you knew who your target market was. You could almost picture the people, the family, the couple coming in, and so you weren't just selling that show house, which always sold, but you were selling the whole development based on this concept. People could walk in, just imagine themselves moving in, just taking their clothes and moving in, and this is a perfect home for them. And it's the same when you're selling your house to somebody else.
And I suppose it is, because you know your target market, whereas, like where the estate agent or yourself is selling it, the couples that you're trying to attract or whatever. And it is, I suppose you stage the home, and that's the benefit of using a home stager, because they know from talking to the estate agent, from the homeowners, the clients that are going, and we want to be buying that property. So then you stage it according to who wants to buy it. You know what I mean? So you're selling the lifestyle.
You are selling the lifestyle, but it's much more than that, because if you stage, and you know this, and I know this, if you stage a property properly, you will effect a much quicker sale and a much stronger price. With our old house in Dublin, we made a 400% profit on that house, 400%. And my God, was it staged to an inch of its life. It was. Say hello to some of the girls. Shirley Kennevick is down in Limerick, and Shirley, I think, is thinking of selling and moving. Mary Byrne is in Kennybegs. Siobhan Savage is up in Belfast, and Jane Canning is saying hello to both of us from Dublin.
Hi, ladies.
Good few people there. There's probably some of your people here as well. So Maura, okay, so let's say I have a 4-bed semi-D. It's the same as every other house in the estate, and I want to sell it. And I ring you, and I want you to make this house bigger, brighter, and better than the one next door, which is also for sale, so that people will come in and buy my house. What do you do? What's the first thing that you do?
Well, I always say to people, and curb appeal is number one, because I'm one of those people that likes to drive around of a Sunday or during the week, and I like looking at houses. So I always say to people aren't going to stop and take down the name of your estate agent if it doesn't look appealing from the outside. So I always say curb appeal. Cut the grass, put some fresh flowers in the pots on the outside, put down a lovely, fresh mat. People can see this from the door. Paint your door, your front door.
Yeah.
Put some window baskets, make it look appealing, make it look nice, make the people want to stop the car to look at take down that number. You know what I mean? From there, I suppose then you're coming into your hall. You want it to be nice and bright. Like, I'm not saying that everything has to be painted and repainted. Obviously, if your house is darker, then I will say, guys, the best thing here is to paint in a nice, bright, neutral color. If it's dark and they don't want to paint it, then we'd add mirrors. And there's different ways of adding brightness into your room. You can add mirrors in front of the hall or in front of the door or down the hall to actually bring more light. Open the doors for photographs when people are coming in.
Stages always do that. Have you ever noticed that, Maura? Yeah. They always open the door to let the light come in. Always. Yeah.
Yeah, because I suppose when you think of it for photograph, like when I stage a home, and yourself, and when you stage it, you're staging it for sale. So you want people to see the best image, and obviously when someone's coming into your home, you want them to see it at its best. So I suppose have your hallway lovely, declutter it. I just think decluttering is number one. You can't show off a house to its truth potential unless before I can do my job, then it needs to be decluttered. Depersonalize it. I'm not saying you need to get rid of everything that's, personal in your home, but it's very hard for someone else to imagine themselves in your space if all they can see is you. You know what I mean, Anne? So
I agree with you, yeah. I think, I do agree with that, because if you've got big pictures of your family and family portraits and your kids that are maybe a bit dated but have been sitting on the wall for a couple of years and you've got used to them, I think that's wrong. I have no problem though with having the small family photographs on a lamp table or something. Yeah, because that's attractive.
Yeah. And that's part of being a home. Exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I'm like you said, now the big ones are up on the walls and all the way up the stairs, and I just think that it's hard to see for people to imagine themselves in that space then if there's an awful lot of those kind of personal items. So I suppose I always say it's, come into your kitchen, your dining room. I just think that's, for me, it's always an area that, and yourself, and you'd be the same, that's the heart of the home. That's where
the sell a house. Long before people go upstairs, a kitchen will sell a house. If somebody walks in and falls in love with your kitchen, I'd say there's a damn good chance that they're going to fall in love with the rest of the house because they feel the kitchen is right for them.
Yeah, exactly. And definitely, and I suppose everyone has their own. I'd always kind of stage the table, or maybe even set the table. That's just me. Light a few candles. I suppose I'd always say, look, put a bit of cookie dough or something in the oven and just give it that smell before, if you knew there was a viewing coming, to have it there. Put a nice few bunches of flowers around. Nice few, like if it's a kitchen come dining room, open plan area, then throw a few throws in, like a nice few cushions. It doesn't break the bank, the way it
does not. And something, I had Caroline Horgan from Scatterbox on here last Wednesday.
I know, I watched it. Brilliant. It was a lovely
love her stuff. And her stuff is so inexpensive. You can get all gorgeous cushions and throws. And as you say, little things like this will actually, it will just freshen up your house and make it so much more appealing without spending you spend very little money on that.
Yeah. Big time, man. It just makes your house more appealing, and I suppose it just kind of, it brings a new air of life into the home, in the sense that it looks less tired. And I suppose in a living room, you know what, now if you need to get your carpets upholstered or clean, or if you need to even, now put down a new rug. You can buy a new rug in Dunn's now, or even any of these places now. You can buy for under 100 quid if you really have to. You can take the new house switch if you need to. But in the sense of, open up the windows, have a nice and fresh and airy, and burn a few candles.
Or back
the curtains, make sure that all the light is coming into the room, and just, I suppose, give it the best chance that it can, for the person coming in to see it at its best. You know what I mean? That's what you want. You want it to
meticulous clean. I always say boutique hotel clean. Your bathrooms, your kitchens must be. I can remember when we were selling our house in Dublin, it was been sold by auction, so it was only a couple of weeks. It was short and sharp. It was great. But one of my neighbours was walking through, and she overheard somebody saying to her husband, "There's a team of cleaners in here every day in this house." The team of cleaners was me. I never cleaned a house like I did. It was meticulous. Oh my God. It has to be. I actually know somebody who was living in Dubai, and she got her mum to look at a house for her. And the mother opened the hot press door, and everything was so meticulously folded and so beautiful that she said, she rang her daughter and she said, "You know something? This house has been incredibly well looked after. Buy it." And she did.
And it does, but you do, because not be nasty. If you walk in, yourself when you walk through straight away. You can see by the way it's been treated and cared for. you know, and you obviously were like, oh my God, it's been looked after well, and I make sure that, you know, it's a good house to buy, because you know it hasn't been ruffled up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I definitely think, as you said, and the bathrooms, the hot press, you know, like even sometimes I said to people, if the runner on the stairs even kind of looks tatty, in the sense of like, it's inexpensive now, you can make it as cheap or as expensive as you want to actually change the carpet, and you know that yourself, or even the top.
I would even go, you see, if it's floorboards that were a bit scruffy, I would even go to the trouble of getting them resanded and refinished.
Yeah,
because again, it shows that the house has been really well maintained and that the quality of the flooring is super.
Without a doubt. And then as well, when all those jobs are done as well, people aren't saying, oh my God, if I move in here, now if I buy this, I have this to do. They're saying like, oh, we only have to do this, this, and this. So then it's less work. Some people love the challenge of what they have to do in a new house. Other people are like, oh my God, I just want to move in, live here for a while, make a few changes, but doesn't really, a lot of people don't want to make big changes. It depends on the person and how
people don't have imagination, Maura. I can remember I was talking to somebody today, actually, because she's bought a house in Kildare and she needs help with it. But somebody that we know had an apartment in Ballsbridge. They bought it at it was an executor's sale. It was horrendous. And I'd say 95% of people who walked into that apartment walked straight out. Well, you should see it now, Maura. It is stunning. It's so contemporary. It's so bright. It's unrecognizable. Same apartment. A few people are saying hello. Marita Harold is down in Limerick as well. Mary O'Donovan, who I think you know, she said, hi ladies, great advice from Maura as always. And Breda Kelly saying, afternoon, Anne and Maura from sunny Dublin, sun shining everywhere. And somebody else saying, hi ladies, looking forward to this. Good. And please, if you have a question, Maura will be delighted to answer. I know she will.
But and the other thing then I suppose is your bedroom. And like the bedrooms, I suppose your main bedroom is the thing, like, because that's where people will go first of all. But it's so easy now to recreate and give your bedroom the 5-star look. You know, like you don't have to spend an arm and a leg, but nice bed linen. Oh my God, crisp white bed linen. And you know yourself, put a nice throw on it, a few nice cushions.
Do you know something? I bought bed linen, like a white waffle bed linen in Dunnes Stores the other day. To be honest, I was in a hurry. Didn't even look at the price of it. I think it was €30 for a king size duvet and look. It's absolutely gorgeous. So there's no excuse. And white bed linen, and yes, pile on the cushions, pile on the throws.
Yeah. And you know, nice set of lamps. You know, it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. And even if you to do that in every room, and just show it off to true potential. And I suppose people always say, stage your house back to the way it was, in the sense of, and I suppose the big thing now is if you do have a third bedroom, like a lot of people now are saying, you know, people love to see the home office there now, and that's a big thing that, and if you don't have a home office, not be nasty, like I would buy a cheap table and chair just to put it in to let people know the option is there if they did buy it and it's not taking up too much space. Or like I do rent furniture as well in Cork. Just there's 2 furniture companies in Cork. So like anywhere from a home office desk to kitchen table and chairs, or even a couch, you can rent it for a few months. You know what I mean? Sense of like that. So at least that, if you don't want to have the spend of buying stuff but you want the fresh look, then that's another option. But I do think, and that it's so important to sell your house to the best potential that it is, and for people to actually, I suppose, feel the warmth of the home as they're walking through the door.
Absolutely. And I think too, go in strong, because once you get into a situation where you need to start adjusting the price downwards, you're losing control then. The buyer is in control. And things can go down. And you can, to be honest, I know, you probably know exactly how much, but a very modest spend can affect a very large increase in the price that you achieve for your house.
Like people say to me, oh my God, home staging is so expensive. It's actually not. As I always say, look what, if you had a price reduction there, one balances out the other. There's no comparison. And like I always say to people, if you stage your home and you can achieve, like you in Dublin, 4 to 11% more than the asking price, I just think it's, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, it's a no-brainer in the sense of like, you know, I suppose, you know, if you do want to achieve that money to move on to the next stage of your life, then spend it, do the home staging, show it off to its best potential and get the price, you know, and help you to move on to the next stage of your life. You know what I mean?
I'm shocked. I mean, sometimes I look on Daft and I could cry and cringe when I see photographs. Dog bowls. And I mean, we love our dogs, but there are many people who wouldn't buy a house if there was a cat or a dog in it. Toys strewn all over the place, kitchen worktops and bathrooms full of clutter. It just, like, you wouldn't sell your car without cleaning it and getting it valeted and serviced. You just wouldn't.
But and it just makes so much more sense. I suppose the best time it is to stage your home first and then take your photographs for the estate agent. No, it's not. Look, at the end of the day, if somebody's flicking online, which is where most of us always look out for properties now, someone won't give your property a second look if it doesn't look appealing online. Do you know what I mean? If it doesn't look, photographs sound good. There's no point saying that.
Breffney O'Kelly, who's a property finder in Dublin, an amazing lady, she was on me a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. And she said a lot of people are looking online, and that's where they'll make the yes, we'll go to look at that, no, we won't. But she said people still, even though some people have been buying without actually physically being in the property, but she said everybody likes to go in, because sometimes you'll get a good feel or a bad feel for a house, and that's really, really important, and you're not going to see that online.
No. And I think you need to be in the space. I know people have bought houses, but personally, for me, I would want to walk through the house. I want to see, because you're not going to see online, like houses have faults too. You know what I mean? In the sense of like, and you know what? All of our houses have different things but I do think when you staging a house versus leaving it vacant, by staging a house, and people are looking at the furniture, the art in the house, rather than looking at the small flaws that might be on the wall, or maybe something, the creaky board or whatever, that you can kind of you conceal that by staging. Whereas if somebody's walking into a vacant home, like say, oh, sure, we won't bother staging it, like we can sell it without. And I know you probably would, but like at the end of the day, you'll get a definitely better price if you stage it, because people are seeing it.
You'll have a much better feeling. I've noticed actually some of the really high-end period properties in Dublin, they might only do master bedroom, the kitchen and a drawing room, but they have it beautifully staged with minimal furniture. You're right, gorgeous sofas, maybe rugs, a couple of lamp tables, but it gives you that feeling of a home. Or people are coming in. Miriam saying hi, ladies, very interesting, great tips. And Ruth Bell saying afternoon, Anne and Maura from sunny Bristol. And Josephine Jeffrey is tuning in from Oakfield Park in Raphoe. Oh God, you'd love Oakfield Park. We actually know the guys who own it. They've got the most amazing house there, and then they've got this incredible gardens and railway and you name it. And when the sun shines, it's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Something I was going to ask you there and I've forgotten. Oh yeah, it's going back to what you were saying about the home office. I think too, if you know who your target market is, say it's a young couple with a small child, that room that you're using as a junk room, turn it into a playroom, or turn it into the home office, or turn it into a study. But for God's sake, don't have a room full of junk. You're leaving that house, you're moving on, so you're getting rid of stuff anyway. So purge and clear and get rid.
As you said, and it's a great chance for you to actually, I suppose, get rid of the stuff that you're not using anymore. You know what I mean? You're 2-in-1 job.
I like to look into a wardrobe and see it at the very most 2/3 full, so that people are going to walk in and think, God, the storage in this house is incredible, which it probably is if you were controlled and disciplined enough not to fill your cupboards full of stuff and junk.
Yeah. And that's so important, because if people open, and as you said, by leaving it, visible for people to see that there is loads more space, they can see what's in there already, and then they can imagine their own stuff in it. So it's great. You're right.
Exactly. I think too, having a nice patio table and flowers and planters, because we all love the outdoor, indoor, and it's something that we try to do a lot. And with the weather good at the minute, it's nice to be able to think that you can entertain outside, where it's safer to do so.
It's another, and everybody is we're all used to being outside now. We probably wouldn't invite any of our friends in the last couple of weeks unless we had that extra outdoor space, because I know we're getting there, but people are still very conscious of bringing people into their home. So that outside space is like the hidden gem. So I always say, people, front door to back door, even for people saying, that might even like have a glass of wine of a Friday evening, or even in the evening, it does make a difference. But just to have that little area, even if it's a narrow little space, put in your bistro table and chairs, create that ambience for people that they can imagine themselves in that space. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think your garden is important too. I wouldn't go spending a ton of money on planting it up. We actually did before we left Dublin, because anyway, that was a different story. But just by ticking in colour in your tubs, an outdoor rug on your patio, some nice furniture that you can take with you anyway. This is an investment. You're not leaving it behind. You'll take it to your next house. But it just creates this
alive, I suppose. It makes property alive, and I definitely think that it kind of creates that beautiful space, that ambient space. You know what I mean?
Felice is saying, hi Anne, joined late, finally. The famous Maura Mackey, absolutely. So they all know, everybody knows Maura. God, if I could bottle your energy, girl, I swear to God, I don't know how you do everything that you do. That's the truth. You're amazing, absolutely amazing.
I have a good teacher there. Come here, look at herself. You're a great teacher. You always helped me out, when I was starting off my journey, and phone call 10 wouldn't be long. and what's your advice on this? And she said, what you do here now? And I was like, so I'll always be so grateful now for your advice always, and thank you very much.
But look, and we met during the Facebook Lives, and we'll be friends for life. I know that we will.
Yeah.
But I remember last year for my birthday, I got, I think that one of the dogs, the big dog was outside. So somebody rang me and said, the florist is at the gate with flowers and she doesn't want to come in because of your dog. So I walked up to the gate, and I swear to God Almighty, I have never seen a bunch of flowers so big. It was nearly as big as me, all 5'2" of me.
Well, it was definitely your friend when I rang her for your flowers, because
yeah,
she said, I go to Anne all the time. She's great, and that she's, so well known up there. So I'd say, because you know as well, I'd say she kind of,
but I'll never forget that. It was just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, get your support out of during COVID. It was great, girl. So thank you very much. You know what I mean?
But you look at it, it's funny. We had a family wedding on Saturday, and we were talking, because I haven't seen most of my extended family for over a year. One baby was born, and he's 7 months now. And we were just saying how much we miss people, and the things that got us through, and and how naive we were at the start of COVID. Like that Monday morning when I said, I'm going to do a Facebook Live until this is over. Never in a million years. I know.
And look what people enjoyed. Sure, geez, I was tuning on every day. My God, I loved it. Just, you know what now? It was just like a sense of fun. And I suppose because it's a subject I'm so interested in, it was just so, every day you had something different. And you know what I mean? It was just lovely to hear people.
And it was distraction.
Yeah.
Routine. To be honest, Maura, I had phone calls and messages from people, maybe who lived on their own, and this could make me cry sometimes, who said, I look forward to 3 o'clock because it's just something in my day, and there's very friendly people there, and there's a good buzz, and
it is, and it was just it was fun, delightful,
But it's lovely friendships. I mean, there's names here. There's lots of lovely friendships happening here. Niall Carey is saying, great work, Maura. Real honest advice. He has obviously worked with you.
Australia, no, he's in Sydney in Australia.
No
He's one
way.
Of my friends, my husband's friends. Hi, Niall.
Oh, that's brilliant. Shirley Kenneth is saying something. Hang on. She's got a question, so we'll take this up. Shirley is one of my very special people. Everybody's very special, but okay, Maura, my kitchen is dated, but I don't want to change it if I'm selling next year. Thought about painting it, but I've been advised not to. It wouldn't suit the rest of it. Any advice? Thanks. That is actually a really, really good question, because sometimes it works to paint your kitchen, and sometimes it doesn't.
And sometimes it doesn't, in the sense that, I suppose, I
have an unfair advantage. I've seen the inside of this house, or I've seen photographs of it. But off the top of your head, I'm curious what your gut reaction to that is for Shirley.
Well, I suppose, and straight away there, I would think of, in my head is that I would think that I'd have to see the kitchen first to see if, and obviously from your point of view, and you've seen it, but like if you don't have to change it, then you could actually put a few new accessories and stuff into to jig it up, rather than if you've been advised not to change the kitchen. It's obviously in very good condition. So you could actually, you know what I mean, put new chairs around your kitchen table, buy a few new accessories, and just make it really,
changing the handles sometimes. Something
the handles on the doors. Yes, exactly. Now the other big thing is you could change the worktop, and it probably doesn't even, I'm just saying from what yours is saying there, you can say it's a lovely home. So like maybe just something as simple as that you could change the worktop. It doesn't even have to be an expensive one, but I mean, there's fabulous contemporary looking ones now that don't cost an arm and a leg, to give it a new look, a fresh look. Handles, worktop, you know what I mean?
And sometimes a darker worktop will actually date a property at the minute, because I couldn't tell you when I've used one dark deck ton, but that was deliberately. The kitchen was dark, the worktop was dark. It was very strategic. But most people are used to light, bright. And
everyone's putting in and most of the jobs I've done on, and people have helped with kitchens in interior design, it's all light, because I suppose because of COVID, everyone was kind of like, doom and gloom, and they just want the brightness back in their homes again. Yeah. But like there's plenty for mic options out there. If you are selling, you don't want to be investing in spending a lot of money on your worktop, and that would be, but as you said, Anne, the handles is a cheaper alternative to do, if you didn't want to do the worktop. You know what I mean?
It's actually a company over in Mayo. Oh God, can I think of their name? It's not Top Form, is it? They have some really, really good looking man-made Formica type worktops and upstands. That you'd be shocked, surely, at how little it might cost. And Maura's right, that could completely upgrade the look of your kitchen.
I know there's a company in Cork called Detops, but I think they have actually a few places around the country that they do the quartz and the silestone and all that, but they also do the Formica range and the cheaper options, to give your kitchen that wouldn't cost an arm and a leg if you'd done that. You know what I mean?
No, but it would look great, because I
Would
do
look
think
great.
be careful
Yeah.
with your kitchen, because it does set the tone for the rest of the house. Mary White is up in Rathfarnham, and she's saying, hi, Anna Maura. Mary's gone looking for sofas. Lots of people out in the market for sofas. Josephine Jeffrey's saying, great to put a face to Maura and that lovely Cork accent. Yes. Shirley saying, thanks very much, both. Okay. So, yeah, I'm curious, do you find most people do paint their kitchen prior to putting it on the market?
And I suppose it depends on the condition of their kitchen. You know, the way like that, an awful lot of people take pride in their kitchens, and that would be their main, like, say if somebody's, like, I always find that there was a lady, you know, a couple of weeks ago, she was just a baker. So she spent most of her time in the kitchen, and she ran her business out of the kitchen, but they were selling on. So she said, Maura, it owes me nothing. I've spent years in here. It needs, you know, and she just got somebody in for the sake of, I think it was less than €1,000. She got somebody to come in to paint the units. And my God, it was a piney kind of kitchen. She painted the units in the island like a kind of, she painted the units kind of a lighter neutral color, and a lovely stiff key blue on the island. And it was absolutely
love silky blues, one of my favorite blues.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, because pine never aged the way any of it. It's a scourge of Ireland. That horrible orange knotty pine on stairs, on doors, on skirting, and architraves, and kitchens. And I think there's nothing you can do with it except paint it.
No, but you see, and if you somebody then coming into that home that actually loves the kitchen and can imagine themselves in that space, like, for the sake of spending, and I mean this honestly, €1,000 on the kitchen, that could mean the difference of making that sale or not. You know,
and adding 10 grand or 20 grand or more onto the price.
Of your house.
Definitely.
You know?
Any questions at all? I always feel I always miss some questions, because I think if two come in at the one time, I might only get to see the first one live, and then the rest are there hiding. That's gas. Niall is in Sydney, but he's obviously a very big fan, Maura, if he's watching from Sydney.
No, myself, Mary now in Ireland, my husband, and we've had great old times in Australia and at home. He's from Cork himself, so yeah.
Excellent. Merits of painting your house beforehand, if it's a bit tired, and particularly if you've got sort of colours that are maybe a bit dated. Well,
I was helping an older couple now, actually, during COVID. Actually, they were going staging their house and stuff like that, and they were going selling and putting it on the market. And I said to here they were now with their laptops outside the house, and they were just, okay, Maura, and their garden. They were showing me up the house, and it was like a real old brown colour on their house. They had brick as well, but I said, okay, we need to make that a neutral colour now. And actually, they were like, oh my God, do you know what now? Their son done a bit of painting for them. And it meant that they got an extra, they said they got an extra 20-25K, not just because of the outside the house now, but it definitely made people stop and look at the house. I just feel, do you know what now? We all have people that we can depend on to do a bit of painting for us. I know during COVID, the painters weren't coming and stuff like that. But look, and if your husband was the kind of person that wanted to do the house himself, buy the paint, and then you can do the job. And it's so rewarding money-wise. And like if your house is
transformational. I mean, it's cheap.
Yeah, it is. And it's the easiest way to make your house look better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think so. I think it's money well spent for sure. Yeah. I definitely do. Getting as much light into the house as well as my bugbear anyway. Maximize your south-facing and your west-facing spaces so that people are very aware of the solar gain and all the light that's coming in.
All the light coming in. Do you know what? No, and the curb appeal again, and people are not going to stop. Or like, once again, if they are flicking through the internet and they see a dull house that's dark in colour and dark windows and everything, and I always say to people, if you have dark windows, dark house, people are not going to look at it. They're just going to flick on the internet, or they're not going to stop, and they're not going to take it. So for the sake of it, that, like, I would think that if the outside of your house is dark, it's once again, do you know what? Change it for the sake of it. It'll make the difference. And as you said, could earn you 20 grand of the difference by doing that. It's small changes. I'm not saying that you have to do it. If you have an outside of your house that's bright already, then maybe just make it look more appealing on the outside. Maybe paint your front door. That'll give it a new sense of.
Without a doubt. No? Do you think it's a time to go mad, to go pink or something wild on the door, or to be a little bit more conservative?
Down here now are going the mad fuchsia pink. I always think of you when I see the fuchsia pink. The fuchsia pink, they're going the mad yellows, the mad blues, the greens, everything. I just think people are going, do you know what? Why not the heck? You know, before front doors were either white or they were grey or whatever.
Red or yellow. Like the Scourge of Ireland was a yellow house with a red door. Thank God that's all changed.
Yeah. People are getting very brave with colours inside and out, and I would think. You know?
I think so. Actually, who was I speaking to recently? Can't remember. Maybe it was Fleetwood, I can't remember that, but the people are definitely embracing color, maybe in different ways. Rita Kelly is saying, what's the first thing you should consider when, I can't see the end of that. I presume she means what's the first thing you should consider when selling your house, maybe? Rita, correct me if I'm wrong. That's all I can see. Essie, what's the first thing you should consider? I think the first thing you should do is a massive declutter. What do you reckon?
I think the exact same.
Clear the decks, yes.
Either do it yourself or get somebody in. I mean, yeah. And you have your own decluttering club there now, and like the academy, and my God, sure, look, there's loads of people on it in the sense of, and you said that people just declutter anywhere from their drawers to and I mean, pull out drawers.
Well, I had a girl from Kinsale who had a gorgeous house, but it was full of stuff, and she did the first declutter course. You could not believe, some of the girls who will remember her, Denise, oh my God, she transformed that house. Now, she worked bloody hard. She did paint and she did lots of stuff herself, but was it worth it at the end of the day? Somebody from the UK came and just bought it just like that.
See?
But she did put it in the work. So Brady saying, what's the first thing you should consider before selling your house? So anything else more? So clear the decks.
I suppose
clear out, yeah.
I suppose, then I would think to myself, what do you need to like change in the house?
Yes.
To make it look more appealing for the new clients coming in the sense of, I suppose, I always say to people, declutter, depersonalize, not too much, but I just think if there's big, huge pictures like we were discussing earlier on, and take them down, maybe put a nice picture of a scene or something there so that, you know, like it's not overpowering. I mean, I know then people need to know that there's people living in the home, but they don't have to be, you know, in your face, you know what I mean? I suppose what you need to change, like if there's a room that looks dark, maybe give it a quick paint of a neutral color, take the dark look out of it, because people don't want to see dark spaces anymore. They want brightness, you know what I mean? They want, you know, to see the light in the rooms and stuff like that. And you know what? You don't have to spend a huge amount of money, and a lot of this work you can do yourself. Like if for example, in 6 months time, if you say, you know what, now myself and my wife are going to leave this house and it's gone too big for us, we're going to sell it and we move on to an apartment or whatever, or, you know, if you want to move up, like just think in the meantime, there could be little projects that you could do yourself at home, in the sense of myself or like yourself, and will come in, like basically I do like what I always say to people, I do a front door to back door report. From that, I'll go in with my notes and I'll actually basically tell people, and it could just be a once-off report, or I can help you with the staging as well. But like, tell people exactly what they need to change. It could be somewhere like from the curb appeal. It could be bringing in your bright colors. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to take big, heavy curtains off the windows and actually just bring the light in, and maybe just leave blinds and maybe let people. And maybe, like, I mean, you can buy curtains as cheap as anything now. And if it means if you don't want to have if it looks naked without it, but just put up a light pair rather than really, really heavy dark pairs. Let the light in. I suppose I always say to people, declutter big time. People need to be seeing the wool from the trees for all the world. Bring that sense of airiness in, open your windows, you know. And I suppose if you are, like, say, for example, now, another thing now, that last day that I was dealing with a lady, and she had a very, very dark tiles on her floors in her hallway, and she, to be honest, it made her hallway look so dark. She didn't want to tear up the whole tiles to sell the thing. So what we done is, I just got somebody in, and he actually laid LVT flooring on top of the dark ceramic tiles, and what a transformation. Yeah. We literally painted the walls in the hall. We put down the LVT that didn't cost an arm and a leg. You can buy it as expensive or, you know, as cheap as you want. And then it transformed the space. When the people walked in, they were like, oh my God, what a beautiful hallway. Whereas earlier it would have been,
all they would have seen was that floor, which they would have hated. Yes.
And then I have to say, when I walked to myself, I was like, oh my God, all you look at is the dark floor. You can't see anything else. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, between the difference of the vacant property versus the stage, you're looking at the nicest of the lovely floor underneath you. Whereas if she hadn't put the LVT on it, and you would think, oh my God, that's another job for me to do when I get into this house, you know?
Tile floors frighten people, because yes, it is messy and dirty, but putting a rug on that wouldn't have diluted it.
And
so
it was
absolutely did the right thing.
Yeah. Bigger space, you know what I mean? It would have, and you know, even in bathrooms, there sometimes people might have, like, people do kind of go, and people are entitled to have their mad colours, but that doesn't, I think, for staging, and you kind of need to neutralise it down a small bit. So I always say, you know, if you really, really, some people have the really mad blue floors or green floors,
the terracotta,
and the terracotta, do you know what? A small bit of LVT, and you know, some people can, or even, you know, like I always say, if you're selling it on, get it, put it down. It doesn't cost an arm and a leg for a small but downstairs toilet, just to give that bit of brightness on. Do you know what I mean? Put up a new
yes, very effective.
Yeah, and you know what? Now the other big thing is that people might have blinds in the house for years, and like the house could be beautiful, but if it's a damp space, then the blind could be moldy or whatever like that. Take down the moldy blinds for the sake of, like, you know yourself, blinds are so cheap now. Buy them. You can even buy them online now. Just make it up yourself and do it. It's so cost effective. If you know that you're selling your house, go away and start the new projects now. Get someone like myself or yourself in, see what you need to change, get the report done, and work away and tick it off, or else get professionals in and do the whole job. That's fine too. But it's just, if you have time to do it, then do it. It'll make such a big difference to your home. You know what I mean? And I even say, if your kitchen table and chairs are old and kind of like run down looking, paint them, give them a fresh look, put a nice set of cushions on the seat and just brighten it up, blend it in with it. Like, you don't have to change everything for it to make look, but the small changes, and sometimes, are enough in some houses. I know some kitchens you have to change the kitchen, you have to paint it. But I mean, I don't want to frighten people off either. I don't be going into every house and say, oh, you have to paint your kitchen. You don't. So it could be small changes, like change your worktop, change handles, maybe paint your kitchen table. You know
what sometimes works as well? People have a habit, or certainly historically had been, of picking tiles that are on trend. So if you walk into somebody's house, or I walk into somebody's house, I know it was built 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So people might have quite dated tiles in their kitchen between the units. Using some of the tile paints to paint those white completely change the look of that.
Amazing. Amazing. The tile paint, that's like that's after transforming, I definitely think, the staging world, because people are just freaked out by, oh my God, we have to change tiles, because it's not to everyone's taste. As you said, the tile paint, it's fabulous.
It's technology improving everything. It's great.
And anybody can do it. Like, if you can paint a wall, you can paint the tiles, because it's so easy to do. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Actually, the Carlow Paint Hubs, they're doing huge work.
I have to say,
innovation in painting.
Are fabulous up there. They're just so kind, and they deliver to Cork and everything. So, and there's, like, I might have a problem there for someone. I'd say, okay, I'm with this lady now, and she needs to know this is this. I send them a message, and literally within a few hours, the answer is back, and I send it on to the customer. You know what I mean? It's great. The support is fabulous.
Amazing. COVID, they've used COVID to help all of us, put it like that. It's been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you something else too, and now it's gone out of my head. Bathrooms, would you regrout tiles in a bathroom and just try and smarten everything up?
You know what? You can, you see that, like, it's so easy to regrow, because I have to say, there's nothing worse in a bathroom than going in and you see the mold in between the tiles. Like, it's a turn off straight away.
It is, of course it is.
It is off-putting, and straight away the person's thinking, oh my God, if I move in here, I have to do the grouting and the tile, and it's one extra job, and all these jobs can turn people off. So for the sake of it, the regrouting, it definitely makes sense to do it, you know what I mean? In the sense of, why not? And you can, like, yes, you can get the professionals in to do it, but if you're anyway handy, and I think through COVID now, there's so many people now after taking on challenges of doing home improvement jobs and stuff like that, then you know what? Take on the challenge. If you are a bit of a handyman and you probably didn't ever think you were, go and give it a chance. We've all done stuff at home now that we never thought we'd do before, and we're doing it now. You know what I mean?
Loads of the girls, gosh, I mean, photographs are flying in. I can't believe people who never lifted a paintbrush in their life before, Maura, are doing things.
And there's tutorials now for every single solitary thing that you want to do. You know what I mean? So if you were handy, go in and get your grout and do it. Or no, you can get a professional too, but I'm saying, if you're kind of thinking, oh my God, that'll cost me, that if you're on a budget, and I think like that too, and you can stage your house on a budget and it can look amazing too. You don't have to be, I suppose it depends on the market you're selling to. That's why you have to do all these kitchen, if you want to make that extra money, then you have to put in a few bob from the staging point of view. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Crikey, what are you doing to me? I can't get something on top of my mind, and now it's gone out of my head again.
And then,
yes, sorry. Yeah.
Like, home staging is tax deductible as well.
There you go.
It's a win-win. You know what I mean? That if you are, it's something that you can put against your taxes.
I did not know that. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, I'll check to see if there's anybody. Questions could well come in afterwards, because it's a good day, so people will probably pop in the evening time, and I find it's over the weekend that the numbers go mad, and people definitely do tune in. So are you working on anything interesting at the minute, Maura?
Well, I'm actually, from a staging point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so it's probably.
No, do you know what now? I actually staged a lovely couple now in the north side of Cork, actually. We were doing a job and we'd done a Zoom consultation actually during COVID, and the both of them got sick with COVID then, and so they asked me to come up. It's this period home above them in the city, and it's actually stunning. It's just all, all old bits and pieces in it, and it's just, obviously they want to sell it to somebody who's actually going to keep, and the best things are in it and stuff like that. But it's just, I suppose, and I love modern contemporary designs and stuff like that, and I love modern pieces of furniture, stuff like that. So it's a big difference, they were going to just do it themselves during COVID, but then they were like, oh, we got sick and we lost our energy. So now I'm helping them. And you know what, when you see people of 75 years of age, there's a lot of older couples actually that are, I feel, that have contacted me through their daughters and sons, that they were living in maybe away from their families or their kids and stuff. So now because of COVID, they actually want to sell their houses in the city and move down to the country with their families, so they're closer to grandchildren, stuff like that. So there's been an awful lot of projects like that. But yes, that period home is beautiful. It's just like the old flooring, the tile flooring going in.
Something so special about a period house. Actually, next month I'm starting a gorgeous job. It's an old house that I worked on the old house with this couple. They moved from Dublin, but now they're building an enormous extension, which is going to be so contemporary, and I just can't wait to get started, because I have to say, and I suppose maybe the older people just like, they're just so, oh, we never thought of that, and oh my God, that's great. And you know what, now I suppose when they were younger, they wouldn't have been exposed to interior design or home staging and stuff like that. They went in and they made the most of it. Like these, when you see the 70, and they're bringing their laptops around the house and their phones, and not a bother to them. And they're like, will you send us on the report? And I was like, don't write anything down now. I'll send you on the report. I'll email it to you. And if it's not to you, I don't have an email. I'll send it to your daughter. Don't worry, she'll print it out for you. And the energy that they have, and to move on to the next stage of their life, is unbelievable. But listen, age is only a number. But technology is amazing. I had a call today, long calls, but an hour and a half, with somebody that I know has bought a house in Kildare, because their kids are in college in Dublin, so they want to be closer. It'd be like a holiday home almost. And as we walked through the house, I did the walkthrough, I did the shoebox, I did the everything, and she was shocked at how I could, things that I was just suggesting to her, and she said, geez, I never thought of that, or I never thought of this, or I couldn't. And it's going to be fabulous, absolutely fabulous. And where she wants to put down the LVT throughout the place. They're going to put down underfloor heating, and she wants it to be soft and cozy, no tiles anywhere. So you can have whatever you want. You really can.
You can, you know what I mean? In the sense of, that's why I always say, like, no matter what your budget is, you can make it. And then you always say that as well, in the sense of, like, everyone deserves to have a home regardless of their budget. And I always say that to people, don't be discouraged. Whatever your budget is and whatever money you have to spend on interior design or staging, there are so many different options out there now. You know what I mean? You just have to be a bit more creative, I
remember when we bought our house in Foxrock in Dublin, Maura, we sunk every penny that we had into that house, and we had a mortgage. And then we realized we'd bought a wreck. So we literally had no money, and yet it made the front of the Irish Times.
And you think,
yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? So it wasn't money. It was a good eye and very careful shopping. Yeah. So it is possible. Rosemary Wallace is saying, thank you so much, lady. Brilliant advice. That's great. Any other little nuggets, Maura?
I suppose the big thing for me is that if you can at all, right, get the staging done before you get your photographs. I just think that it'll make people stop when they're looking online. It'll make people stop in the car. For me, I always say that to people, in the sense of, and I always say staging is better than a cost reduction, because people say, oh, staging is very expensive. It's not. When you think of the money it can reward you at the end, when you have the sale price, it's a no-brainer, and it just makes such a difference. And I think, I suppose, by staging your home, it, like, for the likes of me coming in, like, I'm obviously going to stage it for the client, potential client coming in. Obviously, the estate agent would have advised me, or the homeowner, of potential clients coming through, and make it look the best it can be. So that way, then people coming in are saying, oh my God, I'll have to spend at least 6 weeks, 10 weeks here painting. Like, I remember looking at this house actually only online a couple of weeks ago. I was nosing obviously at a house that I was mad looking at down West Cork. And as I was flicking, there was this lovely house from the outside. I was like, oh my God, it looks beautiful. But when I went into the house, and I know everyone's taste is different now, and obviously it suited that family at the time, And I couldn't believe when I went in, it was like, for me, even looking at it, it was like every single room was a bold, mad colour. And I mean, we all can't be the same in this world, but I just felt, oh my God, for the sake of getting the painter in for a few days now in there, there could have been so much more done with that house. And whereas I felt, even myself, obviously, with the train drive you're going in, you're looking at, but for somebody even that isn't, it's so busy. It was so busy. I was kind of going, oh my God, panic straight away. I would think to myself, how long would the painter have to come in here to be able to fix that over to? Whereas if it was painted in neutrals, and the house would have looked so much bigger, would have looked so much more, I don't know. I could imagine people would come in and say that they would stop and look at the house. Whereas when it was so bold colours, I just think it's personal. But when you're trying to sell your house, you have to depersonalize it.
Very off-putting. You just reminded me of something. I remember doing a show house in Sligo for McInerney Homes, and on the night before, it was a Sunday, there was a big party on the Sunday, and Ron O'Gara was coming in by helicopter to open it. But the cleaners were in the night before, and I was there doing my bits at the end. And this girl came up to me and she said, "You know, Anne, this house is far bigger than the one next door." And I thought, happy days. You know, same house. Taking furniture out too. We all have too much furniture,
yes,
so much stuff in our house. So reduce it, get the flow going. Yeah, absolutely.
Because sometimes, like, I know everyone has to, you know, have furniture in their house according to the number of people that are in the home. But say, for example, if you have too many pieces of furniture, then obviously it actually makes your home look so much smaller. So I suppose, a trained out yourself, myself, we'd say, right, okay, you need to make it look like spacious. So
take it out, put it in storage.
As you said, store in your garage under the house is sold, and that way, you know what I mean?
No, absolutely. Look, I've often held furniture in our garage. I remember one of our neighbours, her husband worked at the bank, and they were always moving, and I took stuff out of their house and kept it in the garage until their house was sold. Mary O'Donovan says, be brave, paint your kitchen units, change the handles. It can make a huge difference. That's in response to Shirley. I might chat to Shirley a wee bit more about this. And somebody else coming in saying, just managing to join you both now. Brilliant. Well, you're going to have to catch us later, because we are going to go. I'm actually meeting friends for coffee at 4 o'clock outside. So, I'm really looking forward to that. Maura, that was brilliant. God, there's a long time coming, girl. We tried to do this.
And before. Our next one was to meet in person.
Yes, without a doubt, without a doubt, yeah. So, Maura, where's the best place for people to find you if they want to chat to you more about staging their home or anything to do with interior design down in Cork?
So I suppose I'm on Instagram under Maura Mackey Design, and on Facebook, and my website is www.mauramackey.ie.
Okay, Maura Mackey, you're very easy to find, and you're such a pleasure. You always put me in good humour, always. Siobhan is saying brilliant advice. Siobhan's up in sunny Belfast. Okay, great. Well, listen, on that point, I'm going to go. I don't know who I'm going to have next Wednesday. I might have a treat for you. I have a friend called Janice De Silva who lives in Bermuda, who has got the most stunning waterfront house in Bermuda with the boat park, the enormous big boat park to the dock of the bay. I'm thinking I'm trying to get Janice on just for a different perspective, a whole different way of life and style. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful girl as well, Bostonian. Shirley said, thanks both, really enjoyed that and appreciated the advice. Enjoy the coffee, Anne. I will. So listen, I'm going to go, and
bye everybody.
Maura, thank you so much. That was absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye guys.
Okay guys, stay safe, stay fabulous, and yeah, just mind yourselves. And there we go.